So you were wondering, what does the scripture say about forgiveness? What does God expect of me? And how does God expect me to forgive others? Well, the Word tells us in Mark chapter 11, verse 25 and 26, He says that when you're praying, you need to forgive. If you have aught against any, if you have a problem against anyone, why? So that your Father which is in heaven may forgive your trespasses. He goes on in verse 26 and he tells us that if we do not forgive, then our Father which is in heaven will not forgive us. So we see that you receiving forgiveness from God is based on the way that you forgive others. See, the Word tells us in Colossians chapter 3 and in verse 13, He declares that Jesus expects you and I to forgive as easily as He forgives us. Matthew chapter 5 and verse 23 and 24 says that before we even begin to pray and go to God, He expects you and I to make things right. And He expects us to do whatever it takes to get along with people. Wow, that's a powerful thing. See, if we can't forgive, then God really doesn't want to hear from us. Powerful. In Matthew chapter 6, we find what many people call the Lord's Prayer. And in verse 12, he tells us, he says, Lord, forgive our debts the same way that we forgive our debtors. Or in other words, Lord, I need you to forgive me on the same way that I forgive others. You see, in verse 14 and 15 in that same chapter of Matthew, he says that we only receive forgiveness if we're able to forgive. You see, the scripture teaches that unforgiveness is sin, and we know that sin separates us from God. And when you're separated from God, you can never have God's best. So today, forgive them. It's not worth you losing relationship with our God. God bless.